like it showed me that all the work that I had been doing over the last, 5 years is not just to build up Lasenta, but it's helping others. And this is a national award. Yeah, I guess you're right. Because even when I was growing up, Terrell, I didn't see anyone. I wanted to be an architect or engineer, and I didn't see that in my community. I didn't see it outside of the community, so I wasn't exposed to it. So when I had the passion for it, I always wondered, like, where did this come from? Because normally we do what we're exposed to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is awesome. I mean, that you're exposing others to it because, like I said,
Yeah.
that's something that I was talking to my wife about. Now, my wife has a slightly different perspective because my wife is Kenyan and Nigerian, so she was born and grew up in Africa. So for
Yeah.
her, it's normal to
Oh
see
wow.
blacks in any field.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but when you come to the U.S., I was like, it is very interesting, especially in
Mhm.
Colombia, because I just didn't see that in Colombia.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, years later, it's hard to see it now, believe it or not.
Hmm.
A lot hasn't changed, but a lot has changed. There's more of us now, which is great, and we all support each other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, sure. So I started LLE Construction Group February 1st of 2011, which, as you know, we were coming out of the recession about that time. I had lost my job a month prior to, and even though I have like 3 college degrees, I was having a hard time finding a job.
Mhm.
And I just got so frustrated, and I just said, I'm gonna start my own business. I just gonna do it, because I didn't see another way out. And I started getting unemployment. It just was not making unemployment was not enough to keep my family going. So I started my own business. My first contract actually came from a local school district who I had worked with prior with my previous employer. And
Mhm.
so they gave me an opportunity, and I'm still working with them 9 years. Here I am in 2020, and 9 years later, we're still working together. So
Awesome.
LLE, I'll give you a little bit about LLE construction and why did I decide to go that route. So my background is architectural engineering. And over the course of years, I had been in the construction environment or facility maintenance where we were maintaining buildings. And so when I thought about LLE Construction Group, I wanted to make sure I did work that I enjoyed. I wanted to ensure, and I love buildings, and I love helping our owners better maintain their buildings. And so that was my focus. And I wanted to start small, Terrell, because one thing when you work with large construction companies, one
Mhm.
thing you notice is they don't go after your smaller projects. That
Mhm.
wasn't a sweet spot for them because of the overhead and what it takes to run a construction company. They bid on those multi-million dollar, million-dollar projects.
Mhm.
Well, Terrell, I focused on the stuff they didn't want, and
Okay.
that was the smaller renovations. And so I built a niche market working on those smaller, like going in and renovating one office as opposed to the whole building,
Okay.
to give you an idea of what that means. So for years, that's how I built LLE Construction Group, one small project at a time.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, one of the things I noticed on your website where you talk about managing different construction projects. So,
Hmm.
what is that process like, or what was it like, getting into that side of construction, the management versus just, I guess, managing the team that's actually doing the building?
Hmm. Well, let me just share this. So right out of college, when I graduated from Midlands Tech in architecture engineering, I went to work for the University of South Carolina as an architecture engineering technician. meaning that's a fancy name for a drafter.
Okay.
Okay, someone who do use AutoCAD and draft plans. So that was my first job out of college, and I worked in design and engineering. So we would be assigned a project, and we had to design it and then give it to the construction team to go build it out. Well, when I would give my designs to the construction team, mind you, I'm the only female and the only black in the whole department and programming. Okay, so he would come and curse me out and throw my
Wow.
designs back at me. I know it made me stronger though, I promise. And he would say, "Listen, what is this mess you done design? I can't build that, you know?" And I'm like, "But it looks good." And so at that point, I knew that I had to learn about construction. I knew that I had to design projects that they can go out and actually build it, or go out and actually,
Hmm.
turn it into a reality. So I started asking more questions and just exposing myself, going out when they were actually doing the construction, watching and asking questions. And eventually I'm just really good at it now. Yeah. So that's what made me. Now, as far as now, so the components of my business is general contracting, because I am a licensed general contractor. And then we handle construction and project management, which you just asked that question, managing our clients' projects. And then we also do facility support services, or facility maintenance and management. So general contracting is the actual build out of the building. Project and construction management is either managing the build out or managing after it's built. And then your facility maintenance and management is managing that building after it's built and turned over to the owner.
Okay.
So to explain the construction and project management part, so we work with we'll partner with a larger construction management firm.
Hmm.
A lot of times contracts require them to have either what they call a SWIMBY certification or SWIMBY participation. That means small women and minority. So our company has partnered with other larger companies to actually manage the projects. So
Okay.
that'll be from working in the beginning with the architects and engineers, and going through the design phase with the owner, going through permitting in order to build it. Once it's permitting, launching the project, going through your pre-construction, then your construction. So we manage it from literally the idea of the owner all the way down to the end user moving into that building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we can go that's from concept to completion. And we help manage that whole process, which is a really big process. And we
Hmm.
work with a lot of different industries and entities, from architects, engineers, to your phone and phone system design, and the data, and the IT folks and the furniture folks. So it's a lot of components of it, but I love it because I'm a connector and I like putting the parts and pieces together to
Hmm.
make one big awesome project.
Okay. So how do you find, I mean, when you're in a situation where you have to work with a ton of different people, but just
Mhm.
keeping, and they all have their own businesses, but just keeping them on track to say, hey, this is the overall vision that we need to achieve. And I know you guys don't know each other,
Mhm.
but we need to come together. So how do you manage that when everybody has their own business, their own agenda,
Mhm.
their own teams? Like, how do you manage that process?
So I was, as the project manager or construction manager for a project, you develop a schedule. And that schedule pretty much shows each entity, whether it's the plumber, the electrician, where they fit into that schedule. And the part that keeps it together. So we host what we call a pre-construction meeting. That's when we meet in the very beginning of the project, and we tell them, okay, this is how it's gonna work,
Mhm.
and then we set up either a weekly or biweekly project meeting on site. And the purpose of that meeting is to keep everybody on track. And if we're off track, it lets them know, okay, well then we're a week or two behind or ahead. This is where you're going to fall in, and you need to be there that day when
Mhm.
it's time for you to fall in, or else you're going to delay the project. So once you put together that schedule and you have these the pre-construction and weekly meetings, most contractors and subs, they fall into play because
Okay.
they're ready to do the work as well, Terrell, because they're ready to get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that
And
make sense?
that makes a lot of sense. I know
It does.
I mean, my formal background is accounting and finance. But when
Mm-hmm.
I worked at General Electric, I worked
Mm-hmm.
a lot in the manufacturing sector. And one of the parts of the business, we made jet engines.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
remember sitting with the kind of the schedulers as they were
Mm-hmm.
trying to lay out the schedule for what they needed to build, and just
Yes.
following one jet engine through the
Yes.
process of this
Mm-hmm.
person needs to be ready here and this person needs to be ready here, or if
Mm-hmm.
parts were delayed, then you had to
Right.
push out the whole schedule, to where I was just like,
Oh,
man, this is not an easy job.
well, just imagine construction is like that every project.
Oh wow.
Yeah, every project, like we have to ensure, and we get a buy-in from our subs, for them to say, how much lead time do you need to procure the materials? So
Mhm.
we meet with them to make sure. I mean, it's a big task being a project or construction manager. People just think, oh, they're just getting paid to manage the project. They don't really see, what all
Mhm.
entails putting that project together and delivering a
Mhm.
project on time and on budget for
Yes.
for the owner. Like they don't see the inner workings of
Mhm.
what it takes to complete a project.
Yes, I definitely have a lot of respect for that, because yeah, there are a lot of moving pieces. So,
It is.
so you've talked about kind of the products that you and the services that your construction group offers. So
Mm.
when you started this, what was kind of your vision of, hey, this is where I wanted to take my construction firm?
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I started off broke, okay? I couldn't even afford the materials for my very first project.
Okay.
So, but the caveat and the most amazing part, I had worked with another company that had partnered with a construction company that's been around like 100 years, and I
Mm.
worked with them like for 6 years. So I got to see how they operate and how they work, what type of projects they won, what type of money I could make.
Mhm.
So I knew the possibilities going in.
Okay.
And my previous employer was also an SBA 8A contractor, meaning he did a lot of work with the federal government. And I knew eventually that's where I wanted to be. So because I had already seen the possibilities, I saw where I could take my company to a 20 million, $100 million company, in annual revenue. Then I said, okay, but I have to start somewhere. And
Mhm.
so for me, starting somewhere was those smaller projects.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you the great thing about that, Terrell. When you start small, you build relationships with other business owners that can come in and be a partnering for you on your projects. It just allows you to tweak it and work it to figure out how to put a system in place for your company.
Mhm.
And then once you're ready, then it helps you, elevate to the next level. And that's what I did. I wanted to start small and then, increase my business, along the way.
Okay. And speaking of
Yeah.
starting small, I was looking at some of the photos on the Facebook page of some of the projects that you've worked on. And there
Hmm.
looked like there was one building at, I think had you worked on a project at Columbia High School?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
yeah, I did. We did. We were a part of the stadium upgrade project for Richland School District 1, and Columbia High was one of my. We were assigned, so we partnered with a larger construction management firm, and then they assigned us to specific schools, and we were assigned to Columbia High, and it was awesome because I am a product of Richland One schools. Yay. And so it's always an honor and a pleasure for me to be in this position to give back and be a part of maintaining the school system that I come from. So yeah, Columbia High was a stadium upgrade project where we put in like new bleachers, a new press box, new field turf.
Okay.
a new scoreboard. It's awesome. It's just to give the community a better sporting environment. So when they come for track or football or whatever sports lacrosse, whatever sports they have out there at the stadium, we contribute to giving them that better sporting environment, which is awesome.
And I greatly appreciate, because Columbia High is actually where I went to high school, and I
Oh,
and I remember playing. I played football and soccer at
oh,
Columbia High, and I remember playing and practicing on that field before
hmm
before
hmm
it was nice.
yes. Did you? So you have had an opportunity to see the build out.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes,
yes, really nice. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. So when I worked with my previous employer, we were a part of the bond referendum that
Mhm,
renovated the schools, the middle and high schools. Well,
mhm.
Columbia High was my project back then
Oh,
too.
okay.
So we were responsible for building the new cafeteria,
hmm
the new auxiliary gym, and the new
Okay.
fine arts building.
Okay. Well, you guys
So
did a
all of
great
that was
job.
my work. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. See, I left a legacy for others to enjoy. Yeah, thank you for asking about that project. That was a really good project. And it
hmm
came in on time and on budget. We had some change orders, but it was a really great project.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of the legacy that at ULEAM, I also have seen like some of the videos where you've done speaking engagements, or whether I think it might have been at Midlands Tech, or you were
hmm
talking about the Midlands Tech programs there. How did
yeah.
you get into that?
Well, I absolutely love Midlands Technical College. Their slogan is "You can get anywhere from here," and I am proof that that happens.
Mhm.
When I went to Midlands Tech back in 1991, I was a single parent of a little boy, and I wanted to go to college and learn how to design and build my mother a home. So Midlands Tech was the only one to offer an architecture, engineering, technology program in the whole state. And if I wanted to get my architectural degree, I would have had to go to Clemson. At the time, I couldn't afford it. So
Okay.
I went to Tech. When I tell you, I absolutely love Midlands Tech because they were so nurturing and supportive. And when I graduated, they helped me get my first job at the University of South Carolina. So just over the years, I've been coming back speaking to other women and single parents. I've been just giving my time back to the school, to help support the students there. So I've always kept in touch with the administration. Well, last year I was invited to come and be the keynote speaker, guest speaker for the graduation last year.
Oh, congratulations.
So awesome. And that's a legacy. And I will say, I also offer two scholarships every year to students, any student who apply um, at Midlands Tech. One is for a single parent because I want to give back to single parents because that's where I got my start. And then the other scholarship is for a student in the architecture, engineering, technology program with a preference to a minority student.
Okay.
So when you see the things that I'm doing for Midlands Tech is because I do believe that because of me going there, it helped me to become a better woman. I had the support that I needed around me. Mary Margaret Kendrick was one of the women there who, when I couldn't go to class because I couldn't find a babysitter for my kids because I ended up having a second child, she found a grant that paid for childcare.
Oh, wow.
Yes, for me to continue to finish my education so that I can provide better for my family. And when I tell you, if I didn't have someone like her in my life, I don't know I don't know what would have happened, but she showed me that it's okay to take care of people and help people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we live it and we see it, but it's so awesome to have people in your corner supporting you because when you get that early on, it's built into you.
Yes.
So now, I mean, I do it seamlessly. I don't even think twice. If I can help another person get where they need to be, then I'll do that. And I learned that that's the foundation that I received from people around me, especially at Midlands Tech.
Mm-hmm. And I
Yeah.
think that's awesome because it also brings up the work that you're doing with women entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so when I started my business in 2011, when I tell you it was tough, oh, it was tough in that one, I'm starting a business,
Hmm.
which means you really need business acumen. Like I can be really good at knowing construction, but I needed to know how to run a business, you know?
Hmm.
And so I didn't get the help and support that I needed coming out the gate. I got help getting the contracting opportunity, which has been amazing. But when it came to building my business, I didn't always have, I've never had a true mentor.
Okay.
I use books as my mentorship, or I follow people who have been successful in the industry and I watch how they move. And
Hmm.
that has been my way of getting, the mentorship. But I am very passionate about helping women, especially in construction, because we don't get the support that we need. We
Hmm.
don't get the funding that we need. Not that our male counterparts do, because I know there's still a disconnect with them as well. But I have learned that women, we tend to be a true backbone of our family, whether we're supporting our husbands or whether we're supporting ourselves as a single mom, we're still the backbone of our community.
Hmm.
And so when you help a woman, when you lift her up, when you empower her to go and do some amazing things, it changes the dynamics of what we're living in.
Hmm.
It could be economic development in our community by helping to build up a woman owned business. So
Hmm.
I'm so very passionate about sowing seeds into women that can help them better support their husbands, better support their business and their families, and then overall the community. And so I'm just passionate about it because I've been there and I didn't have the support and I struggle. And sometimes it's still a struggle because once you start growing in business, you don't start seeing women like me
Hmm.
sitting at that $1 million table. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I want to see more of us sitting at that $1 million table. And if I can help contribute to helping build women up and understanding business, that's what I'm here for.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what are some of the I guess before the COVID-19 pandemic
Hmm.
and the social distancing, what were some of the events that you had been a part of that
Oh,
were
wow.
helping empower women?
Oh, God, what haven't I been a part of? So I'm a member of WPO, which is the Women President Organization. So that's a really awesome group of women who businesses gross at least $1 million in revenue. And we get together and we talk about the pains in our business and issues. And really, it's a peer-to-peer support group. So I've attend their annual conference, which I absolutely love. Every year is focused on a particular theme, whether it's how to, bring more technology into your business, you know, it's just phenomenal, and it's awesome to be around other women who are engaged and excited. It's like none other. I participate in events in Columbia with the City of Columbia. Richland County hosts different events. Um, I go to some of the chamber events. Mostly anything that support our small business and entrepreneurship community. I try to be a part of that because I don't know. I think I have a sense of a following,
Hmm.
and so when I share and when I'm there supporting, it lets other people know, okay, it's okay, let's go. Let's check this out and see what we can learn from it. But I'm very mindful of what events I attend
Hmm.
because not all events help me grow. Like my goal is to learn and grow and to help and support. So some events may not be, a good fit for me. I hope I answered your question when
No,
it comes to.
I think that was great because
Mhm,
and there are tons of resources, and that's one of the questions that I get
mhm,
from some people, like as I'm working with clients, whether it's doing a feasibility plan or financial
mhm,
projections on their business, where they're either looking for resources and sometimes they're a
mhm,
little overwhelmed. They're like, how do I know
mhm.
which one is the right one? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
And I think with having, like I said, as you talked about, you do have to be selective about some of the things that
Mhm.
you go to, because you got to make sure that it's actually adding value in the area that you need.
That's right. So I'm very strategic when it comes to what events I attend. So I have this thing where I go on Eventbrite and I put in a topic that I need to learn more about. If, like for instance, one year I attended several financial management sessions
Hmm.
or workshops or events, because I needed help better understanding my financial statements, my profit and loss, my balance sheet, my cash flow, putting together my forecast. So I would attend workshops and summits that dealt with that because I knew that was my weak area. So I'll say I'm very strategic about the event. People think I just go to all these events, and I do. I do, but at the end of the day, I'm going to learn something. There's something that that event is offering that I'm missing or that I need to learn. So I'm very strategic about, the event. Unless I go and support someone
Hmm.
and they like, listen, can you come and support me? Then I may show up.
Okay.
But as far as spending my money and
Hmm.
attending events and workshops, I'm going there because there's something about it I need to learn or a connection that I need to make because this is all about building relationships too. And so sometimes you need to be in that room,
Hmm.
as a business owner. So
Hmm.
that's another reason too why I show up.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
also, I did see that you received an award, the Enterprising Woman of the Year award. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that one actually came as a surprise. In 2015 was a good year for us. So by our third year in business, we hit the $1 million mark in annual revenue. And
Awesome.
so I know it's so awesome. And so I was able to join WPO because once you hit that $1 million mark, hey, you can join the group. So I was able to join WPO, and one of my colleagues, my friend and colleague, Joanne Labonte, she nominated me for the 2016 Enterprising Woman of the Year. And the criteria for that is not only that you had good, fast growth in your business, but they also look at how you've given back to the community. And so I'm going to assume, just from her watching me move in the community,
Mhm.
she liked that, and made a nomination for me, and I actually was selected.
Awesome.
So isn't that awesome? And what I'll tell you, the meaning of being selected and awarded the 2016 Enterprise and Woman of the Year is, to me, it solidified the work that I'm doing in the community. Like it showed me that all the work that I had been doing over the last, 5 years is not just to build up Lasenta, but it's helping others. And this is a national award. So this is women
Awesome.
all around the country, all over the world, who come together and we're awarded and we go through oh, it's so phenomenal. I met women from Canada, from Africa, from the United Kingdom, from Australia, Japan. They were just from all over the world.
Hmm.
And here we are together being honored, with this prestigious award for the work that we're doing, not only in our business, but in the community. And that just meant that it meant a lot to me. Thanks for asking about that.
No problem. No problem. So, as you think about kind of your experiences and the
Mhm.
lessons that you've learned, what is one piece of wisdom you would give to someone that says, hey, I would like to start a business similar to yours? What piece
Mhm.
of wisdom would you share with them?
Well, so I get that question, believe it or not, all the time. I get people calling me because they want to start a contracting business or a construction company. And the first question I ask is, do you know construction? And I'm not saying you have to know construction to start a construction business, but it helps because you can get one project and it can just your business gone because maybe you didn't bid the project right, you didn't put enough money in it, there's so many caveats that could kill a business like from the gate. And so that's the first question I ask. And then I do recommend that they have some business acumen. And if you don't, make sure you build a team that does.
Okay.
And make sure you put the infrastructure in place to build a successful business. Because when I started, I was winging it. I'm not going to kid you. I winged it for because I was learning and growing as I went on. And I recommend in the beginning, I took the next level training, entrepreneurial training program, so that I can understand the different phases of like, understand why I need an attorney, understand the insurances that I need, understand why I need a CPA and a bookkeeper. I had to go through that process to put the infrastructure, and it took me years to figure all this out. And putting that infrastructure. So I would recommend, you know, I do think, my opinion, that we need mentors. I do think we need mentors as we start and grow a business, because mentors can guide you to make sure you don't go following the errors that we have done, and help you put you on a better path for success. So I do recommend having mentorship. And also, because of COVID-19, you better start with a banker, okay? Because you need the capital. You need a really good banking relationship as you move forward in business to deal with some of those financial hiccups or speed bumps that slow you down, in business. You need someone that you can go to get even some banking advice. You may not need a loan or money right now, but making sure you're building that relationship so when you do, you have someone you can go to. So I have a whole page of advice, Terrell.
I think that one that you mentioned about the banker relationship is a very important and very timely one, because I know that's something that
Yeah.
with even the big companies, like when I worked for GE or other Fortune 500 companies, or even smaller companies here in
Hmm.
Charlotte, is just watching the cash flow, to
Yeah.
where there were certain points where in my professional career, like that was my job, just to watch
Hmm.
the cash flow to make sure they had enough
The cash
cash to
flow.
actually stay in
Hmm.
business.
Oh yeah.
And I think that that's something that a
Yeah.
lot of people, when they get in business, that's not
Hmm.
something that you just think about.
No, you don't. You brought up a very good point, because think about this, as a business owner, you're just really good at what you do.
Hmm.
Like if I bake cakes, and like I love baking cakes, I'm really good about that. But I may not be really good at managing the business side of it.
Hmm.
So you're right. I may not pay attention to the money coming in and going out, which is critical. I mean, it's the
Yes.
lifeline of your business. But
Hmm.
a lot of times, as small business owners and entrepreneurs, we don't pay attention to that part of the business because we're too busy out here baking the cake
Yes.
and selling the cake.
Hmm.
We didn't look at, oh, do I have enough money to buy the ingredients for the next cake? We don't look at that. And the
Hmm.
fortunate part about GE, they can hire you to come in and do that and monitor the money, right? Small
Hmm.
business owners, because we're so strapped for cash, a lot of times we don't hire anyone to come in and do that for us. And then
Hmm.
you get to COVID-19 and you're like, where's the cash flow? Where's the money?
Yes.
And it's still out there with our clients' pockets and bank accounts. We haven't recovered it. And so
Hmm.
it leads to a little struggle for us sometimes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, definitely thank you so much for your wisdom, and thank you for being on the interview today.
Yeah.
Really enjoy talking with you. Like I said, I'm very thrilled to see, you said, the progress that you're
Mhm.
making in your business, from like just hearing your story.
Yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
and definitely want you to continue. I guess, are there any projects that you've done that you wanna talk about, or that were special projects to you before we end?
Yeah, well, what too? Of course, working with Richland School District 1 has been a great opportunity because, again, I am a product of Richland 1. And to be able to give back from creating space where students could learn, even though right now they have to learn from home, but being in a position to help create space where we just can learn. I mean, that's empowering for me to be a part of that. And then recently, we got into working with affordable housing.
Awesome.
And back in 1991 to 94, that was my goal, was to build my mom a house, but I didn't share. Prior to me graduating, my mom passed 3 months before I graduated. I lost my mom, and I think I lost, and actually now I know I lost my passion for that residential side of construction. And, but this year I got a spark back, and it's been 26 years.
Hmm.
But this year I got a spark to, I mean, it's like that passion came back for me
Awesome.
working on, I know, isn't that awesome? From working on an affordable housing project. So now because of that, I'm looking at what's next and how can I take that passion and my knowledge and my drive to build out another community, and maybe it'll be one that I build out for myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, awesome. Definitely best of luck with that. And also
Mhm.
keep up the great work. We'll definitely
Yay.
keep an eye on what you're doing. We're
Okay.
definitely cheering for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I think you're doing an amazing job in the community. I watched some of the interviews that you've done, and it's very informative. And you're bringing on, professionals that we need to hear how this works, what it's like to be a Black female in construction, and then some of your other professionals you brought on. So thank you for creating this platform
No
for
problem.
us to be able to share. And I appreciate being on with you today.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.